So today I'm going to be testing a Nightforce Extreme Duty one-piece mount against Nightforce rings. I've got my scope alignment tool rigged up in both. The Extreme Duty here is a 34 millimeter ring. The two-piece are 30 mil, so there's a little bit of difference there. But everything's torqued down onto my Field and Cave scope checking device with two nice, precisely machined Picatinny rails. Very good quality product. If anyone's looking to get into testing their optics, it's actually a lot of disappointment when it boils down to it, but it does make you use more accurate and stronger products in the end that only help the accuracy of your rifle. This piece here, these one pieces, I've always found have just been perfectly aligned. Now I'm talking the good ones. I'm talking Nightforce, Spur. I'm sure there's a lot of other good ones. I just mainly use Nightforce and Spur now because, when I check them, they're just perfectly aligned. This ring only has 1 or 2 thou of play in it. I mean, I can't even hardly wiggle it. It's just barely enough room for it to slide across here. If these rings are out of alignment in any way, whether it's direction, angles, this ring will not pass to the other bar, period. And I'm talking even the slightest misalignment. If you're about 2 thou out or more, you're not going to pass that ring. If you're even a thou out, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it on the ring. But here, I feel no resistance under that ring. It's just perfect. And they're machined as one piece, which you would expect perfect alignment. As far as strength, I can twist on these one piece, twist and pull. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're just solid as a rock. And for obvious reasons, every movement, every force I try to apply to this ring, I'm applying to this entire base, and partially to the other ring as well. There's superior clamping surface. They're just stronger in every which way. The alignment's perfect. I don't have to lap them. I go to a two-piece here, and you can see that looks like damn good alignment to the naked eye. If you had those little Leopold pointed alignment tools, that might match up perfect. I don't know. I don't use them. They're junk. They don't tell you the true misalignments that scope rings can have. So I use this tool. So that looks good. We'll even get close. Might see a little misalignment closer you get, but the ring tells you. Nope, not happening. I can't even force it on there. It's stuck in my ring. Now the difference, of course, is obviously they're not one piece. They're sitting on a rail. They're clamping. To match the angles of your clamps. How a person. You're relying on these surfaces on a Picatinny rail here as well, matching this one up here where I've got them pushed forward before I clamp them. Are they perfect? I don't know. If they're a thou out, that tells you, if this ring is machined, a thou or two lower than the other one, the ring will tell you. And you can see with these two-piece now, if I bend this, let me see if I can get it to go with one hand. Oh. I can actually, I did it with two hands. I can actually tweak these and move them enough to where I can get that ring to pass. Now watch that gap. You see that movement? I'm not even pushing on it that hard. Twisting. There's a little bit. But this is the big one. Try it with a one piece. There is very slight, but I'm having to push a lot harder to even get a very slight amount. I don't even have to push that hard with one piece or two piece single rings. You know, that might be what some say, oh, that's very minimal. Okay, it is. But how much does a scope reticle move to make an adjustment of an 8th MOA, you know? And it's going to throw your scope off. If these things start moving, especially on these big rifles, magnums, big muzzle brakes, you can knock those things around. I've done it. So, I mean, there's ways to make them pretty damn solid. You know, you bed this base of the ring itself to the scope rail. Helps. If you got a screw-on rail, pinning will always help. Any rail with 648 screws, I change them out to 840. I drill and tap them, and I glue and screw the rail to the receiver. You know, I buy the rail I want with the proper compensation, and I'm not going to change it, so I just glue it. You know, with JB Weld and just leave it. You know, it gives it a nice solid contact, and so there's ways to make them better. You know, but they'll still never be as strong as a one piece. You know, I don't care what anybody tells you. You know, after tweaking this thing, you know, I just push and pulling like a son of a gun. This thing's still in perfect alignment. I may have knocked this one out further. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me a bit. You know, they're not going to come back to how they were machined. And, you know, and then we go over here. If you think Night Force is strong, I mean, look at the clamping force on this spur I've got here. A full rail with these 4 massive bolts that go through. Big, well, massive for a scope mount, I should say. They go through there, come around. That surface runs the entire length of the rail. Now, this is a big Magnum rifle. I've got an integral scope rail on this action for obvious reasons. But when you just look at, you will not move a spur mount. They are just ridiculously rock solid. But even the Night Force, you know, being 4 screw rings, you know, and less surface area on them, they're just so much more solid than the 2-piece rings. So I do all this kind of testing all the time. Maybe I'm bored. I don't know. It makes me sleep better, I guess, knowing that everything is perfectly solid. When I test optics, you know, when I've got 2 scopes mounted on here and 1-piece rings, they don't move from the first shot to, you know, if the scopes are solid. Let's put that first. If the scopes are solid, I can take them out, remount them. They're not going to move from the first shot to the last shot if they're solid. And if a scope is moving under recoil, I know it's not the rings. You know, this thing is solid. I've tested it. I know how solid they are. So, for me, you know, 2-piece rings, light recoiling rifles, varmint rifles, sure, whatever. Rifles where you're not looking for the top of the line precision. You're not going to beat them around, that type of thing. Anything that's going to have, you know, going to be thrown in and out of cases, hunting rifles even. Something, you know, some of those PRS guys, you know, I think they only use 1-piece mounts because they're just going to hold up better. They're just so much stronger. And it's just one less thing to worry about with the accuracy degrading on your rifle due to something in the optics mount. So for me, I pretty much only mount 1 piece on my serious rifles. They are more expensive, no doubt. And if I had the money, I'd put 1 piece on everything. And eventually, you know, I might get there. But that's all I got for today, so thanks.